Welcome back, Tickled to Death, you showed back up. If you're new to the channel, I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you like what you see. Today, we are gonna be getting back on the 57 and doing something that I've been putting off for a while, mainly because I wasn't ready for it, but we are still waiting on parts. Well, you can't see it back there. Still waiting on parts for the heartbeat of this thing, and so why not knock this little thing out? Got to be done. So sun is behind the clouds, pretty cool out here. It's a great day to work out here in the driveway. Welcome this episode in the garage.
What red hell means, I know you want me. Well, I want you to. What will you do? Love child, what will you do?
So if you guys recall, and gals, nearly a year ago, I guess now, I had mocked the front end of this thing up, got the fenders, inner fenders, core support, I guess the air dam on the front of it. I'm not for sure what you call it. All of these parts, and there is a part, right back there. Got all that stuff mocked up and found out that I had messed up on this inner fender. Mainly because I was missing a part. So if you guys will recall, all of this was cut off. It was all rusted out and pitted real bad. The other side was manageable. It was still redone, but there was enough of this structure here to make a template for from the other fender for this fender. But it turns out that the two fenders are not the same. So I've got this piece here bolted on. Don't know what it's called. It was hard to find, but I found two of them in decent shape. So we've got them bolted up, and as you can see, the metal that is missing. So we've got a template drawn up here, and that has been drawn up since I mocked this up. So what we're going to do is we've got some, I wish I had 18 gauge, but I've got 16 gauge, so we're going to make that work. We're going to mark out this template, cut it out, and see if we can go ahead and weld it into this inner fender. And we'll get to doing some block sanding and a little bit of priming, and we will get this thing ready for paint. I believe it would be smarter, I think, to go ahead and paint the inner fenders before I paint the fenders over there propped up against the wall. Mainly because these will be easier to protect. I could probably put them up there on the shelf, because it will still be some time before I'm ready to install these things. Like I said, I would like to get this thing at least firing over before I install it and the transmission in the car. I don't know if I'll end up doing that. I might jump the gun and go ahead and install it, not for sure. But I'm gonna get you set up, and we'll get to cutting this out and see if we can get it welded in, get this thing ready to sand. If y'all notice, the part looks a little bit different than the stencil we made, and that is on purpose. If I leave this piece of metal to a point like it actually needs to be, I won't be able to weld it. It'll just blow that point off every time I try to weld it. So I need a little bit more meat hanging out down here on the bottom to give me something to weld to up here, and then we can grind all this back as we need it. So we'll get this set up on our part and see how close we are, and then we'll do some marking and trimming wherever necessary, and we'll look at getting this thing welded down. Let's see what we got, just how close or far away we are. Alright, I need to do some trimming right here. I'll bring that farther in. And then we're gonna have to do some trimming up here. I'll mark this for now, but I won't trim it yet till I get this down here fitting right. We'll go ahead and mark the length, but we won't cut that yet. Not until we're ready to, as I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to say nothing yet. I'm not for sure. This may hang out the bottom down here and have a tab on it with a hole. So I have to look at my other panel and make sure I don't mess us up. But we'll trim that right there to start with, and we'll see how it fits. Alright, we made a first trim. Let's get ourselves lined up here. See what else we need to do. Alright, I gotta switch to my right hand here. Alright, we're gonna come up about right here. Something like that right there. We'll trim that, contour it, and then we'll see how close we are. I tell you what, let me go ahead and make a mark. That way we put it back in the same place every time. Let's see how close we are. I believe I can make that work.
I should flies and smiles have faded since last I saw you. And I know that your eyes must be faded. The confusion that I've put you through, because I'm having a breakdown. But I'm not going blue. Well, I think I'm having a breakdown. Which door can I choose? Can I choose? I said, which door can I choose? Well, I don't expect everyone to understand why I'm spinning papers in my hand. that you lead me to my rubber room, because I'm having a breakdown. But I'm not going blue. Well, I think I'm having a breakdown. Which one can I choose? Can I choose? Well, I know I'll probably walk through brimstone before I see my light. But I'm not going to give up out on my dream that a fight, not tonight. Well, I know I'll probably walk through brimstone before I see my light, yeah. But I'm not going to give up out on my dream without a fight. Hell no, not tonight. Not tonight, no, no. Well, I think I'm having a breakdown. Not tonight, no, 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 yeah. Well, I sat in the green room day after day, while the LGBC showed me a brighter way. And I'll probably look into the mirror night after night, but I'm not giving it a rub without a fight. Not tonight, no, no. Well, I think I'm having a breakdown. Not tonight, no, no, no. Said yeah, I'm having a breakdown. Think I'm having a breakdown. she is strong enough to take that ride. She lifts up one of her wings to let me by her side.
So the IRS calls the doctor's office, schedule an audit for the following week. So following week comes, IRS agent shows up, sits down with the doctor. IRS agent says, I'm gonna ask you a few questions, just answer them to the best of your knowledge. Doctor says, all right, hit me. So say you've had a patient come in, they've needed stitches on their arm. You put the stitches in and now you gotta wrap it in gauze, but you don't use that whole roll of gauze. You've got a few feet left over. He said, you throw that away, right? Doctor said, no. He said, no, we take that gauze and we throw it in a box, and when we get a full box, we'll send that off to the gauze manufacturer, and they'll just send us a whole box. IRS agent says, all right. All right, he says, so let's just say that somebody came in with a broke leg. So you've set that leg and now it's ready for a cast. So you mix up some plaster there and you make the cast, but you don't use all the plaster that you mixed up. You've got some left over. He said, you do throw that away, right? Doctor's like, no. He said, we scoop that into a box, and when we get full, we'll send that off to the plaster manufacturer and they'll send us a whole box. IRS agent says, okay. Say you're doing a circumcision. You throw that away, right? Like, no. He said, we get a full box. We send that off to the IRS. They send us a whole book.
Ain't that right? Remind her of that day, but she is strong enough to take that ride. She lifts up one of her wings to let me by her side.
So we have our new panel, not our new panel, our old panel, bolted back on, and what we're going to do is use this line right here to judge where this line goes. And that's really the best that we can do, because we have a bolt hole right here, and you can see by the size of that bolt hole, if I can hold the camera right, you can see by the size of that bolt hole versus a 5/16 bolt. You've got, you know what I'm trying to say. The hole is just basically a suggestion as to about where it might be located, is what I'm trying to say. So we have some play. So like I said, the best we can do is use this line here and line the edge of our panel up here. Now it turns out we can go ahead and lop this off, so that's what we'll do. And then, as you can see here, we've got an indentation where a bracket goes. So we'll have to grind this back and make this line up so that our new panel we welded in is not in the way of that bracket that goes right here. And we've got some trimming to do back here as well. So I'll get that all trimmed up and we'll drill our hole. We have another hole we have to drill right here, and this panel will be done as we're going to get it. Now you can see with that bolt how much adjustment you have. These, let's just say these cars were adjustable. That's a nice way of putting it. So I think that is going to do it. That looks pretty dang good for the shape it's in. Alright, I guess it is time to move on to body work. and get this thing sanded and ready for paint. Alright, so we got these things sanded, and we've got a lot of the little nicks and scratches and all that stuff took care of. And now is a good time to go through and ream out all of your little holes that are in your panels, just in case there's some leftover body filler or something that is oblong in your holes. The reason you want to do that is, let me get away from this fan, is because if you don't and you paint over that stuff, when it comes time to stick the bolts through it and the hole is not the right size, you're going to push that bolt through and pop that body filler out, and it's going to flake your paint and cause you some ugly problems. So it only takes a second, but you'll be glad you did it. So I'll get you set up, and we'll bust through these things real quick. Alright, so all you need is a step bit or a Christmas tree bit. That's why. And just come down through here, go through your holes real quick. Now, you're not trying to make the holes bigger. You just want to get any type of filler out of there that might be in there. Like that right there. Get in there. That's bigger. See this one here, out around, how out around that is? You want to straighten that back up. Like I said, that's just for body filler. All right, now that we got that done, what we're going to do is mix up some primer, and we're going to thin it into sealer. We're going to come through here and put another single medium coat on the painted surface, which is this surface here, not this. We're going to undercoat that, and that way we level these colors out. Not 100% necessary, but it's usually good practice to do that, especially when you're painting colors that are real transparent. Keeps you from having some dark spots and blotchy spots, places that are hard to cover. So it's always good practice to do that. And plus we have some body filler where we done our last minute touch-ups, and so we want to get that covered up before we paint it. So I'll get you set up. We will mix some primer, sealer, and we'll put a coat on this thing, and then we're going to go wet on wet, meaning right after the sealer flashes off, we'll be adding our color and clear coat. So y'all hang tight. We'll see if we can get these things painted. got our 2 coats of primer reduced down into a sealer. Everything looks pretty good. Pretty happy with all that. I am. So I've already got the base coat mixed up and got it in the gun. So I'm gonna strap up, get you set up, and we'll start laying down some color. We've got our 3 coats and a float coat put on here. Hopefully we don't have any blotchiness. It'll be really hard to see in here. By the time we can see, it's going to be too late. So We've got our clear already set up in our gun. And so let's just get right into it. What do you say? Got them done. Man, I think they turned out fantastic. I got them out here in the sun, baking. I think they turned out great. I am happy. I'm a happy camper. A little bit of trash, but you know, we don't leave nothing alone. So we'll be sanding and buffing all this stuff. So be looking for that video here. I gotta tell you what, it is hotter than the devil's butthole out here. I'll just tell you right now, and I ain't kidding. It is hot. Matter of fact, let's just see how hot. Where you at? That right there. Let's just see. Now that the sun has gone in. (102). What about out here in the sun? What's that say? 126? Woo, that's hot, man. Hot! I know it's been a little while since I made a video. I've had a few pressing matters that have taken precedence over the 57. And I could have put out some junk videos, but I do not like doing that. It is not worth my time, so I'm assuming it's not worth yours either. But we still have a trunk full of stuff, and we still have all that stuff under there to paint, so be looking for that video as well. If you hung out this far, I greatly appreciate it, man. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit your bell notification, that way you're notified every time I release new content. Hit the thumbs up, share it, leave a comment. Love the comments. Matter of fact, I learned something from a comment from a few videos ago that I have not put into action yet, and when I do, I will definitely give that subscriber a call out, because he got me out of a confusing jam. Really didn't know exactly what was what. But like I said, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, y'all go do some work.